Absolutely everybody loves going to a restaurant. We love the idea that somebody else is going to do all the cooking. Somebody else is going to have to do all of the cleaning, and everyone at the table can get whatever they want without anyone complaining about it. As a parent, I feel that one deep into my bones. But I think that maybe our favorite part of the restaurant experience is that we can literally just stay seated. We can recline at our table because somebody else is charged with giving us all of our food, all of our drinks, our dessert, everything else. That being the server. Everybody likes to be served, to have their needs catered to by somebody else. But not many people make a career out of being a server. Some do, but again, usually those are like high-end restaurants with great pay, better tips, those sorts of things than your local Cracker Barrel. Most people who work as a server are doing it as they're working their way through school, or they're doing it as a first-time job, or just a way to pay the bills until something better comes along. Not many people want to spend their time serving others. And yet, in our context as Christians, there are very few things that we can do that help us become more like Jesus himself than service. In fact, it's one of the things that can help us get to the next level. Looks like it's time for a midweek moment. Serving others is one of those things in Christianity that nearly every Christian knows that they should be doing, but so often we aren't doing. And there are a few reasons why I think that seems to be the case for us. For one, out of all the other spiritual disciplines that we've discussed in this series, they are more inwardly focused. They're things that we can do for ourselves, and we can genuinely feel the benefit of them ourselves. But in serving, we are called to be more outwardly focused. And you've heard me say before, you'll likely hear me say again, that our default factory setting as human beings is consistently stuck on selfishness. And in service, well, you can't exactly be selfish. But as I alluded to earlier, when you and I are engaged in serving others, when we are actively seeking to help other people without reward of any kind or without recognition of any kind, that is when we most resemble Jesus. See, Jesus spent the majority of his time in service to the people that were around him. Whenever he saw someone in need, Jesus would willingly, and I think that's a really important word right there, willingly spend his time in serving those people. But when we consider who Jesus is, it's actually kind of backwards from what we would expect from him or how we would expect him to behave. In fact, Jesus himself kind of points out how backwards this whole thing is in Matthew chapter 20, verse 28, where it says, "Even as the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as a ransom for many." So when you and I are serving the people that are around us, we are behaving in a manner that is very Christ-like. And if the entire point of being a Christian is to become more like Jesus, which, spoiler warning, that is the whole point of what we're doing, then I don't think the question is, why should I serve? But rather, how could I not serve? And like so many of our other spiritual disciplines that we've been talking about in this series, the more that we engage in serving others, the more we're going to want to serve others. In my youth ministry days, I was trying to help my students develop a heart for serving other people. And so what we ended up doing was that once a month, we would meet up like normal, for like a normal youth group night. But instead, we wouldn't actually have youth group. We would go to other places like a local nursing home or a food bank, and we would start serving in whatever capacities that they needed. None of these were ever like super fun jobs or anything like that. In the food bank, oftentimes it was going through the mountains of canned goods that they would have and pulling out anything that was expired and disposing of them. In one of the nursing homes that we went to, it was washing wheelchairs for them because those wheelchairs can get awfully gross and they don't get washed all that frequently. When we started this whole endeavor, not a whole lot of the kids were overly excited about this sort of thing. Most of them just wanted to do all the games and the fun stuff that we typically did in our youth groups. But over the course of time, they began to see the value in what we were doing. And our monthly service nights actually kind of became more can't miss than our regular youth group nights. You kind of sat down, we did the numbers eventually and found out that we actually had better attendance from more of our students on service nights than we did on every other youth group that we had to offer. They even started making fun little games out of the whole thing, like who can get their wheelchair to sparkle the shiniest, and who could find the most expired can. That one was my absolute favorite. Our record came in 2018 when we found a can that had expired in 1995. Gross. I think that one of the main reasons why our service nights became so popular amongst our youth group kids was that it was easily the most hands-on lesson in becoming more like Jesus. We were seeking to help fulfill the needs of others, just like Jesus did. It's maybe the most tangible way that you and I can reflect the image of our Savior. And especially as we are in this time of the year, the need for people who are willing to serve others is at its highest point. So let's grab a towel and let's be in service. We might find it would take us to the next level.